Any views expressed in this film are those of the artists, recorded as part of the Future is Loading exhibition.
Hi, I'm Rudy Loewe. I'm a visual artist and artist educator. My pronouns are they, them. I work with different kinds of topics like Black history, colonialism, gender, sexuality, and how these themes can be looked at through painting, drawing, and printmaking. I am a light-skinned Black mixed-race person with two long braids, glasses, a nose ring, a cowrie shell necklace, and a little beanie hat.
Hi, my name's Tobi, pronouns they, them. I'm an interdisciplinary artist. I work mostly with mediums around visual, in terms of like video and sound, in terms of poetry and singing, kind of incorporating harmonies into my work. A lot of my topics and themes revolve around healing, ancestral language, and just coming back to nature. I am a dark-skinned Black femme with gold hair and a little tuft of a lock growing on the left side of my head. I'm wearing an abalone shell necklace. I have one earring in my right ear and two nose piercings, one in my septum and one in my actual nose, which is a circular ring, a spiral ring.
And you have beautiful lipstick.
Yes, a beautiful purple lipstick.
And we're having this conversation today alongside the Shape Arts exhibition, The Future is Loading, really just to talk about disability justice, in this time of COVID-19 and the global pandemic. I think this leads on really well to our next topic, which was thinking about a disability justice shaped future. We should be thinking, in terms of the future, we should be thinking about how we can put more of these changes that allow for more access for more people into our daily lives. Not that they should be this temporary thing that only work for able-bodied people or like in able-bodied people's favor. Even the fact that there's all these mutual aid groups that have suddenly like sprung up, and for me personally, like having social anxiety, there's so many events I would never go to. I would never go. And suddenly, like, having all of these events on Zoom, and like, don't get me wrong, sometimes in certain contexts, like, Zoom can also be really exhausting. But yeah, in certain contexts, like, Cutie Pop Zoom rave, that being able to be a possibility, like, I would never usually do something like that. So it's incredible actually to see some of those ways that I would never want to be in a space like that which isn't sober. So, and now suddenly that becomes possible.
Yeah, it is very interesting, and it is also like kind of, in a way, there is a bit of a hope for a more accessible future, in that we have snippets, we have examples, we know that this is not impossible. It's not something that takes like a ridiculous change in infrastructure. It's more about like an individual, peer-to-peer, like community-led, like shift in our language, shift in the ways that we're talking about like access. Because like you said, so many people with social anxiety are now able to imagine or even experience what being at a party might look like without having to leave their homes, or like hanging out with their friends who, because most venues are inaccessible, they aren't able to see on a daily basis, or taking classes with other people who are from all around the world but also share this like really marginalized identity that is also intrinsically kind of linked to their disabilities. I mean, I'm also speaking from my experiences here. Like, this time has really made me so much more aware of what it means to go inwards and to actually be thinking about what life looks like for people who have different abilities, who are disabled, or who just, their mobility is different, and how we can just stay connected and how we can continue to foster, accessible spaces without it being physical, and then to get to a point of actually, okay, we're in conversation now. So what does a physical space look like? How do we then make that happen? It's been really eye-opening for me as well. So I hope that we don't just stop having these conversations now. And I hope that this also is again, like another beginning of more conversations, of bigger networks, and people thinking about actually what does mutual aid look like and how can I incorporate that into, my own capacity, and not just, creating things that exist for 3 months and then they disappear again.
Absolutely. Like, we can't just be creating these temporary structures. We need to be thinking in a kind of more long-lasting way of collective care that, why is mutual aid temporary? Like, that these are the kind of structures, from an anti-capitalist perspective as well, these are the kind of structures that we want to exist. And I think that when we start to have these conversations around equity as well, that suddenly it becomes really important, actually, that not just within a crisis, but I guess the fact is this crisis has kind of made more visible for some people the structural inequality that was already there. And so I think more people have started to think about equity in ways that they hadn't before. But how do we carry that forward in different ways within our communities? That's not just like, okay, this is going to happen for a few months and then it's gone.
Yeah, I think that is a question that we all have to ask ourselves on an individual level, to be able to then find collective answers, and also to then not lump the responsibility onto disabled people to then create these solutions, when really we've seen that when able-bodied people need access, it's there instantly. It doesn't take that long. It takes 2 weeks, it takes a month. All of a sudden, all these things are just possible. So I do believe that those internal and external conversations should happen, led with the voices and experiences of disabled people, but also not just like lumping all the labor on us to figure out the solutions, because we don't exist as a monolith. We also don't exist on an island. We're all inside of this society, whether we acknowledge it or not.
Yeah, and I feel like also, for all of us, we need to be willing to learn and also to make mistakes. Like kind of as you said, disabled people are not a monolith. And even within like disabled communities, we don't always understand each other's experiences because disabled people have such vast different experiences. I can even say for myself that sometimes I've really like messed up around other people's disabilities in ways that have been really hurtful, but being able to kind of make space for that, whether you're disabled or able-bodied, being able to make space for that we're in this constant learning, and that it's really time that people make disability justice a part of their like continual learning, that you need to know this stuff. We all need to know this stuff now, that it's really crucial that people, just as people are, for some people, learning about racism for the first time, which is a whole other thing, but like that they need to also make those efforts towards disability justice.
Exactly. Yes, like just engaging in the conversations, and also like not letting fear of getting it wrong stop you from doing anything at all, because until we get to the point where we're living in societies where people are able to make changes and make mistakes and grow and be held accountable for by themselves and by their community, without it meaning that they're excluded from these communities, then we're just not going to go anywhere. We're just going to get we're going to be stuck in the same loop of having conversations and trying to figure it out, but then the action is really not led by everyone. It's only like by a select few members of our communities and society, and we really need to get away from that. We really need to be not literally holding each other's hands, because we shouldn't be holding hands right now in the pandemic, but literally holding each other in a network of communication. That means we're allowing the transformation to happen, and we're thinking about these changes sustainably and on a long-term basis and permanently, and not just for when it's needed by a select few.
You can watch more of Tobi and Rudy's conversation and view the Future is Loading exhibition on our website at www.shapearts.org.uk.